Welcome back, my beautiful humans, to another episode of If I Die Tomorrow. This one is piggybacking off of last week's. We were talking about double standards and hypocrisy. This one we're going to talk about matching energy. Yeah, we all do it. We talk about how society, has moved goalposts and, we throw these labels around and we don't have the same respect based on gender and roles and, the narrative that we're fed. I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of times that I say, I am a mushroom. I am kept in the dark and fed crap. I think we all feel that way sometimes. But I'm going to tell you that after reflection and looking at my own self in the mirror, I don't just ask you guys to do these things. I do them myself. I always felt a little raw. I mean, seeing all of this, feeling all of this, experiencing it. And we've all experienced it one way or another, in one role or another, one label at a time. That it really makes you put a guard up. It makes you want to say, fine, life is unfair. And if people are going to judge me unfairly and by a label instead of who I actually am, I'm not going to give them who I actually am. Nope. I usually can lean back, but I'm going to lean forward now, and I'm just going to match their energy. They want to be crappy to me, I'm going to be crappy to them. Because that solves everything, right? I want to challenge that thinking, though. When you decide to match energy with a world that is inconsistent and unfair, you will never win. I'm never going to win. Never. You're actually going to let hypocrisy win. You're going to let the narrative win. You're going to let the labels win. You're letting a broken system tell you who you are allowed to be. What? Yeah. We're going to talk about why matching the energy of an unfair world is the most dangerous trap that you can fall into. And we're going to talk about how to take it back. I hope you're ready. I hope you're open and willing. We've all been there. Someone catches an attitude, or your partner dismisses you, or is very dismissive at all. And a friend snaps, or your invisible work is never noticed. So, what do? You snap back. You feel justified in the moment, right? Well, if they wouldn't have done to me what they just did, I wouldn't do what I did. I wouldn't react in that way. Did you just hear that? Did that make sense? I know it's one of the reasons that we justify why we're not a good human some days. But you let them hand you chaos like it's a secondhand coat. If you hate hypocrisy, like we talked about last time, why are you letting people transform you by that narrative into something that or someone we don't even recognize anymore? I know it's hard to stay grounded in a world that feels like an echo chamber of bad attitudes. I get it. And by doing it, you're leaking power, your power. And a world that is so reactive. When do we draw the line? How do we make the difference? How do we know? Or when do we give ourselves permission to do it? When you stop matching, you start leading. If a person is being a hypocrite and you match them, now you're just two hypocrites in a room. Sounds like a great party for me. Not? But if you stay at, say, 72 degrees, nice and comfortable, for most people, that is the nice and comfortable. I mean, because if you're out west and it's, 100 degrees, 72 doesn't feel that bad. Maybe a little chilly, but not too bad. If you're from the north and east, and even central, 72 is pretty good, especially if you're coming off of winter. Yeah. But if you stay in the truth, your kindness is going to force them to see their own reflection, and they're going to fight you hard on it. But you don't need to lean forward. You can reclaim your identity and keep your heart. Your heart is actually too valuable to be auctioned off to the highest bidder of chaos. You know that, right? You're worth that, right? We match energy because we're scared of being the only one playing fair. And it's hard to always feel like that's who you are in your role, and you want that permission sometimes to just... But what did it really cost you? And was it really worth it? I know I told you last time, because I was excited about our next episode, but we really are going to put another exclamation point in looking at the world within these episodes that I'm doing right now. Just because the world is unfair doesn't mean you have to be. And in our final episode, it's that fairness, that purity that we wish we had more of when life gets scary. Thank you for being with me today, talking it out, hearing another perspective, being honest with ourselves, and knowing that we have value and we don't have to be a thermostat or a thermometer. We can actually be a thermostat that is set at a nice temperature, and we don't always have to lean forward. So, as always, be kind, be grateful, and stay humble.